Okay, I'm going to be doing a video here about AR pistol grips. Now, before I start, the rifle has been safety checked, as will be the other rifles I will be bringing up. The safety here, it is on fire for the fact that when I was in the military, training was when you turned your rifle into the armory, you checked clear, pointed your rifle into a clear black barrel, pulled the trigger, and handed it to the armorer. So I tend to do the same thing now as a matter of habit. When I put my rifles away, I check clear, point safe direction, drop the hammer, and put my rifle away. And the AR, as you see, will not go on safe with a dropped hammer. Now, pistol grips. A very subjective subject because this is dealing with the ergonomics of the rifle. So I can't tell you which is best. I can tell you the features, the basic design, and what I'd like and do not like about each grip. You will need to get a hold of them in stores or from friends or others at the range if they will let you. Some of them you can pick up when they're in the packaging and test them in the store as best you can without being attached to the rifle. And hopefully you'll find something you like. Now, another thing about this, as I cannot cover every single grip. One, I do not have them available to do. I haven't tried them all. I have at least picked up and held on actual rifles, several of them, many others I've just tried in the store. So I can't really go over those other than to say most of them I found at least comfortable or at least not objectionable. As I said, it's subjective. So I might not have decided to get them for various reasons. They weren't bad grips. So that's one of those things, like I said, you'll have to make up your own mind. Now, the ones that we'll be going over are the Magpul K grip from their SL line. I believe that stands for slim line. And I have a Magpul MOE Plus and a BMC Gunfighter Mod 3. And I will be bringing up an old A2 to use as a contrasting example, especially for people who may still have the original A2 grip on their rifles and may be thinking about replacing it, and maybe why they would want to or should. So, starting off here, the Magpul K grip here, part of their SL line, as I said, and like I said, also believe it stands for slim line. I think that's just general idea. They just try to trim and slim down the various components. Now, some of the design features of this, being a slim line, it's a little thinner in the palm areas, even thinner than the original A2. And it's a little trimmer front to rear, a little less distance. They do make a model that does not have the extended beaver tail. Some people like this, some people do not want this. The one without the beaver tail is going to be a little bit trimmer, especially in this area as it comes in to meet the natural lay of the receiver. Why would you want the extended beaver tail? Well, for a lot of people, even people with smaller hands, I mean, I have at best medium hands for a man. So I still like this, and my fiance prefers this style as well, and her hands are smaller than mine. The reason is simple. It brings your hand back farther from the trigger, so you can get a better shooting position or grip position and trigger finger position on the trigger. You're less likely to get sloppy and put too much of your finger on the trigger, which can affect your trigger pull. So it just makes it a little bit better. One of the downsides is, unless you have really long fingers, reaching the magazine eject is no longer going to be simple. Without the extended beaver tail, it was a real simple matter, just sticking your finger there and hitting the button. Now you'll have to rotate your hand over a little bit to get to it, which isn't difficult, and it's not, I myself did not have to move my hand that much to do it. Or they actually make little paddles shaped magazine release buttons that make it easier to get to with these style grips. Now, the other big feature about this, other than the general trimness of it and the extended beaver tail, which as I said, you can get without, is that the grip angle is more vertical on the K grip. The original A2, I'll bring that in, as you can see, if I lay across it, best I can to get it even, as you can see, the angles involved, it's much more raked to the rear. And the reason the original is this shape, or this angle, and the Magpul and some other grips available are more vertical, is twofold. The first has to do with how the original rifle was designed to be fired versus how we do today. Shooting stances. The original rifles were fixed length stocks, larger rifles overall, and the suggested or preferred shooting stance was a bladed stance, in which if the target was front of you and you were right-handed, you would turn so your left shoulder and side are facing the target, and the rifle would lay across your chest as you fired. So it would be laid across your, as you're standing this way, sideways, it would lay across your chest, and you would fire from that position, shooting standing offhand. Now, the more vertical grip lent its, or less vertical grip, the more swept grip of the A2 lent itself to that style shooting very well. It was very comfortable for your wrist. Your wrist didn't have to be in any kind of funky angles to hold on to it. So that's the reason why they had that angle on them originally. So modern shooting stances is more squared off, in which you're more directly facing the target, or using a, I guess what you would call an isosceles stance, like you would with a handgun. You're definitely more squared off to the target than before, and that changes the way your hands are and how you're going to be holding onto the grip and the wrist. This requires you to break your wrist a bit more to hold onto it properly, while a more vertical profile requires less stress on your wrist and is just more comfortable. And that always lends itself to more to just better accuracy and as you're shooting, because there's less strain on your hands. Another reason is because many rifles today are adjustable stocks instead of a fixed stock. So with varying lengths of pull, and with a length of pull that is generally shorter overall than the original rifle, that changes how you're going to be holding on to the pistol grip as well. And a more vertical grip works better for shorter length of pulls. So, since I have this one here, why would you want to get rid of this grip, or is there anything good about it to redeem it? Well, overall it's comfortable. It feels the hand well, and it's not objectionable in that regard. It has good texturing on it. That isn't abrasive and overdone. But the biggest problem is the finger grooves for many. They don't fit very many people well. They don't fit me well, even though my hand fits into this space for your fingers, it fills it up. And if you had hands bigger than mine or fingers thicker than mine, you would not be comfortable, because your pinky would be rubbing against this bottom nub. This finger groove area here definitely affects some people. Myself, it does rub the bottom of my finger here because my finger doesn't quite fit it properly. So while I've never had problems with this grip and that I just had to get rid of it and just throw it out, there are better options, more comfortable options out there for a lot of people. If this grip works for you and it fits you well, then by all means keep it. You do not need to get rid of it. Unless there's just features you want that you can't get with a grip like this. So don't feel you have to get a new grip unless you just really want to. It's not bad in of itself. Now, one thing about the K grip I should mention, Magpul grips, most of them have some kind of storage option in the inside of them. The K grip does not. I do not know if they make a rubber overmolded version of the K grip. If they do, it'll probably be ever so slightly thicker because of the rubber. I actually really like the overmolded grips. That rubberized feel feels very nice in the hand while ensuring a very good grip that will not slip. But the texturing on this grip is well done. It's aggressive enough to feel like you got a good grip, but not so aggressive that it's going to be uncomfortable. And overall, it's really well done. Now, one of the reasons you may like this is if you have smaller hands, the slimness can be very nice for that. Or if you're like me, you have children that are old enough and of sufficient size that they can comfortably hold a rifle. So they would like to shoot. While these are not my children directly, they are my nieces and nephews. They do come around and want to shoot on occasion. And this being a 22 dedicated upper rifle, it's really easy for them to shoot and learn to shoot with. And not only that, it's just a lot of fun for me and my fiance as well. So I had it set up to be a bit more comfortable for them as well, and just to be, good for us for when we go shooting. Now, that's about all I can say about this grip. It's very nice. I actually really like it, even though I tend to prefer grips that have a bit more rounded, hand-feeling feel to them. I actually really like this grip. The trimness just feels right to me. So I don't find the trim slimness detracting at all. I actually really like it. So we'll move on to one of Magpul's other offerings, and that would be the MOE. Now, I have a rifle that I'm in the process of filling up and getting everything. I still haven't got the stocks and everything I want for it, so I just threw this stuff on here because it was a very handy place to put the grip so you can see it on the rifle. Now, this one has more of a rounded, it's still flat, but it's a bit more rounded, a bit more hand feeling of a grip overall. The angle is more akin to the angle of the A2. It's pretty much identical. You have the extended beaver tail. Magpul makes versions without an extended beaver tail. I don't know if it's considered the MOE, but they do have their other grip options out there with and without the extended beaver tail. Some even have adjustability in the front. You can put a finger groove on them or not. So Magpul does make a lot of options, and they have a good product line overall. The MOE does have storage available on the bottom. There are supposed to be like kits you can buy that allow you to store different things, or this general cap that comes with it, the lid, that allows you to stuff in like cleaning supplies or something else in there. And like I said, they do have others that replace, that are designed to hold items without letting them rattle as well. Now, being a little bit thicker overall, they wanted to make it so that your thumb and trigger finger fit well. So they did trim it up here where your finger and thumb are going to be lying. So being that it's sunk in a little bit here for that, your thumb has a nice little place to rest whenever you're firing, and your finger can more readily fit across through here, and it makes it easier for reach reasons. So overall, very similar reasons to like it for the K grip. It's very well thought out, very grippy, with a nice rubberized coating. The non-rubberized version has a grip texture very similar to the K grip I just shown, so that applies there. If it wasn't for the grip angle, I would be holding onto these all day long, but because I really like this until I tried a rifle with a more vertical pistol grip profile and just liked it so much. That's what I want on all my rifles now. But everybody's different, so your opinion may vary on that. Now, if I can get the rifle to stay without falling over. There we go. The last one here, it is BCM Gunfighter Mod 3. Like the K grip, has a more vertical profile. It has the extended beaver tail. Magpul makes versions that do not have that, and they have other styles. The Mod 3 is more rounded, with a more hand-filling shape than some of their others. Some of them are slimmer, more akin to the K grip, and they're a little bit more trim, a little less, as you can see, bulbous in the grip area, I guess you could say. And they even have a version that has adjustable pieces that go in the front, very similar to the Magpul. This has a little trap door on it to allow you to store items in the pistol grip. The texturing is very good, very not offensive, but grippy and very good on the front, and there is none on the rear. As you can see here, the front comes out and forward some. That's because the original plate here, the trigger guard, would have a gap at the rear in between the pistol grip and where the trigger guard is. Some people found that very uncomfortable, that it rubbed their hand wrong, a bit, and was uncomfortable overall. So Magpul made this, and like I said, they have the version that has adjustable parts that would fit here to fill that in. Now, it's not a big problem with the BCM trigger guard I have here, nor the Magpul trigger guard I've had on another rifle. Wait a minute, no, I didn't have a Magpul. This other one is a aluminum. Not sure where I got that, but it doesn't have that problem either, as I can show you here. It fills it in, so it's fairly smooth there overall, and not uncomfortable like that. The other one with the K grip is the same way, and actually it's a bit smoother overall because of the way the K grip is designed. It's very smooth, and as you can see, it comes in farther, so your hand is even just brought back from that area to begin with, and it works very well with this BCM trigger guard. So this is probably my favorite grip of the three, and will probably be what I do actually end up getting for the other rifle, if I must say. This will probably be it. Try to figure out which color to go with, just because I've gotten bored with the plain black rifles. I've had so many of them. Just decided to splash it up with color, as you can see. Now, the grip options they have many different ones, as I said, and very similar overall. This one is very similar overall to the MO Plus. Nice little ledge here for your thumb and for your finger to get into for really good grip. It all comes down to a lot of it, like I said, preference, which company you prefer to support the most, and just how you want to set up your rifle. If you just want a basic grip like I tend to do, the Mod 3 is good, no options, just put it on and go. The K grip, same way, but Magpul and BCM offer adjustable versions. So there you go. 3 very good options with various design features and changes. Oh, I just realized this is actually a bit more vertical overall than the K grip, because this way this beaver tail comes out even farther on it. So it's a bit more vertical here. It's actually maybe one reason I like it a little bit more. Who knows? It's, like I said, subjective. So there you go. 3 grips, 3 very good options. And there are other good options out there available as well. Get your hands on them, see which one you like best.